Greetings, greetings. Welcome to a Friday episode of Vaygrim's Chance. This is probably not going to be a long episode because I'm still fighting a cold. And I decided to leap on a quick opportunity that I had while my sinuses were behaving. So let's get straight down to business. First things first, I've got a redesign for this. This had a certain mental vision I had a certain mental vision in mind when I was going to be doing these floating modules. That is carrier robot number 6. They just kind of vanish. And it seems like I went for a long stretch of time where they didn't, and then suddenly they started disappearing about every other week. I don't know why. It's either 5 or 6. I've lost track now. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrap this, and I'm going to continue with the current design build. I have the central tower and then the outer towers, right? That is going to be the farthest point. I'm not going to do another one like that over here or over here because I don't want to spread the base too wide. What I'm going to be doing is keeping everything else from this point forward inside the perimeter ring, inside the outer towers, not including the Monster Dome. The Monster Dome is kind of a special case. Everything else is going to be inside this ring. So I had a plan to connect right there over to here. Basically, what I want to do is build a bridge across, and I'm going to center another kind of a thinner tower module. It's going to be right here, and it's going to have a walkway connecting from here over to here. They're probably going to be offset a little bit. If you notice, this does not line up 100% with that. It would be straight out like that. So I might have to move that intersection point over a little bit, but I will figure that out. Basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a walkway that goes across, and dead center in the middle, suspended in the middle of that walkway, will be up and down a vertical tower. These are going to be mostly glass modules. They are going to have some structure, but most of it is going to be enlightened clear glass so you can see through them. They are going to be completely agriculture modules. I'm going to make them to where there are smaller pads that are going to be automated by MFR harvesters. And those harvesters will all harvest and link into a central routing system for each tower that will then put everything into the storage system, the logistics pipe storage system, down here. So everything is going to get cross-linked finally. I'm going to start working on those next week. I'll probably have to build the garden dome first. The garden dome is going to be a kind of it is going to be a different shape. It's not going to be a tower module like the rest of the actual base. It's going to define a bit more of the shape that I've had in mind of this entire structure. It is going to be much more round and kind of a squished sphere. It's going to be clear on the bottom, clear on the top. I want to do overworld on the top and then nether on the bottom. I've got ideas on that, but I'm still working on it. So basically, that's what I'm thinking about. So you kind of have a flip-flop. It's like the nether is kind of upside down on the underside of the overworld. I want to kind of have it be a kind of a decorative garden that you can walk through and you can experience. I might even do some catwalks in the lower levels under the nether area. I think that could be really cool. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking, but I'm going to have an ag module right here, an agricultural module. There'll be one there, one here. Going to be another one here, and there's going to be another one here. Now that's going to include livestock finally, so I can actually start breeding my own cows, pigs, sheep, maybe even chickens, stuff like that, etc., etc. I want to do those. I do realize that I can get all my products that have those things provide from magical crops, but I will do that eventually. But I also want to do the livestock because I think that's cool. So do I have any of these on? Yes, I do. I have cave spiders. Let's turn on the newly added skeletons. I'm going to flip off cave spiders for a while and do witches. I have added a skeletons module. As you can see, this is dark glass all the way across now. It just looks better that way. I have a skeletons module, which is that one right there. The fans have been cross-linked to the same frequency as Killer Joe. So Killer Joe and the fans all work on the same button now, which is as it is intended. Zombie, Enderman, witches, cave spiders, skeletons, all on separate buttons. Let's see. I've got a screen here that I'm going to be adding more buttons to, or more monster types. Probably going to be adding stuff like blazes and balsas and pigmen, zombie pigmen, stuff like that. This is showing the current amount of liquid XP. Now, this liquid XP is being auto-accumulated. Basically, what I did was, let's go down here real quick. I have Killer Joe outputting his experience as liquid XP into a dimensional transceiver. That with liquid XP is then getting piped up here to this dimensional transceiver, and it's basically outputting it to the next container it can find, which is this drum. And the experience obelisk actually pulls it up through the drum into it. Now, why am I doing that? Well, one, I like the interface on the experience obelisk better. If I use this to contain the experience, I have to actually tap it with one of these things. And it doesn't come out in increments that I like. You can't do level 1 levels, 5, 10 levels, you know. This has basically 1, 10, or all. This is 1 level at a time, and I have to right-click a whole bunch. Plus, this gives me a buffer system. This holds 2.1 billion buckets of liquid experience. Now, right now, I have 71 levels, which is 184,000 buckets. So you can see 184, almost 185 kilobuckets. Well, 185,000 buckets is about 71, 72 levels. That means I can hold 2.1 billion and change buckets worth of liquid experience. That is, I'm going to guess thousands, if not multiple thousands of levels, just on a hunch. I don't know for sure, but that's a hunch. I have this thing, nutrient distillant. This is linked to the actual bedrockium drum on top of the device set up in the main tower to actually make the distillant that's fueling Killer Joe. So I can tell how much reserve that I've got, and if I need to go back and make more fuel for him, which is awesome. This is going to have more monster buttons, like I said. This system is still working really well. I went through and grabbed a whole bunch of you can see I've got bows now that are Power 1 bows. I think, yep. Thanks to the skeleton spawner. I'm actually getting leather caps from the zombies and stuff, and now from the skeletons. All the leather armor, after it gets repaired, I put in here. The gold armor, this is unenchanted. After it gets repaired, I put in here. The chain armor, after it gets repaired totally, I put it in here. All the enchanted stuff stays in here, and these ensure that they repair at 10 durability per tick, which goes pretty quick. So now I've got basically an endless supply of skeleton skulls, of bones. Next is going to be probably worrying about wither skeletons, but I'm not going to do that just yet. I think blazes is actually going to be next. Blazes, creepers. That would round out the overworld and nether stuff. Then the only thing I'd really have left to worry about would be ghasts, if I want to do that here, and withers. I think those are the big ones. Anyway, let's go back to the central tower real quick. My voice is fading on me very, very quickly. I've been blowing my nose a lot. I've been coughing some because of the actual cold that I've got, and, you know, congestion and drainage and all sorts of gross things. So you'll notice this is completely blank. I do not have the redstone, jury-rigged redstone system over here. Instead, I have one connection port over here. This is set from signal. Toggle the reactor on and off. When it receives a signal from the floor, then it toggles the reactor on and runs it for a little bit, and then toggles it back off when it gets above certain criteria. Well, what you'll notice is there is a power conduit going. Actually, it's not supposed to be through. It's supposed to be beside. Hang on a sec. I need to do this, and I'm going to do this thing right there beside it. So now it should be pulling in X amount per tick. What we do is we set this to less than 5% and greater than 85% because it takes that reactor a while to cool down. So it'll coast for a bit. So now this is going to give redstone signal output through this cable, this conduit right here. It goes up to this port and it turns the reactor on whenever this storage unit gets lower than 5%. Now this has a steady input because of this system over here. I've removed the battery that was sitting right here and the actual tesseract that was sitting here exporting out on this. And I've consolidated everything basically to where this is sending power out via tesseracts. Now I've still got one back here that's sending power out direct from the reactor. So on tesseracts, I basically have unlimited power. And then on dimensional transceiver, I've got this right here. Now what I'm going to do is get one of these and put these back here. And as a matter of fact, I think I could actually do power. Let's get a reactor power tap real quick. And then I'm going to get a dimensional transceiver. See, these are a little bit easier to deal with because they have, let's see, that's number 4. They actually have, let's send power on that frequency. I don't know if that's actually going to transmit or not. I think what I have to do is first disable that and then put that there. And this basically has no power. That's why it doesn't have any power in it right now. So yeah, that is the one thing, is that I'm not keeping power in this. So really, I should have all my power transmission over here now that I think about it. Yeah, I'm going to leave this here just in case. So we are transmitting out on a locked private frequency called the observatory. This is transmitting on a public frequency called the observatory, just because I haven't bothered locking these tesseracts down. I need to actually make a signal them lock and then combine them, but I will do that in a future date. Yeah, so this is 200 million RF worth of power storage. This is the central battery for the entire system now. It's automated through this power monitor, which watches and it shows how much conduit storage there is, how much capacitor bank storage there is, and all the machines hooked up to the main power lines. So now this is going to be an artificial kind of, it's messed up right now, specifically because it's not communicating very well because of this. Well, once I want to actually get this all straightened out, what I'll do is swap these out for ender conduits. Then this will see the entire infrastructure, everything hooked up to the actual ender IO conduits and so forth. Now, you people are probably going to point out to me very, very quickly, well, Vaygrim, these have a higher maximum power ranking. You see, this has a maximum power output of 20,400 RF per tick, 20.4K RF per tick. This is 32K RF per tick. That's higher. Yes, but in most cases, the observatory itself is never going to be using that much power. If I need more power than that, it's going to be siphoned through one of these that's going to be cross-linked over to the rest of the system. That's basically how things are going to be working. Now, I do have a bottleneck right now. This system has a maximum bottleneck of 25,000 output per connection, which means this can only send out a maximum of 20,000 RF per tesseract connected, which means if I wanted to, I could put this. We go push, put that there. I'm actually going to disconnect that. And I'm going to disconnect that. So now, technically speaking, I actually have 50,000 output being broadcast, 50,000 RF per tick being broadcast out on my public frequency for the tesseract for observatory power. Right there. This is 25,000. This is 25,000. That is how this thing works. So, because I actually have on the bottom here, I have 4 connections coming into this battery. Each connection is 25,000 RF per tick when it pulls out from this. And you can actually watch that number change right here. This is per connection to the actual capacitor bank, not total. And a lot of people don't realize that. Now, maybe it's supposed to be total and it's bugged, but that's not actually how it works, because I can see this pulling more than 50,000 RF per tick based upon how much it's pulling from the reactor. Now, here's the thing. This conduit, I think, is limiting everything. So the maximum this can actually provide is, what is it, 20,000? Yeah, 20, 40, 60, 80, basically, is the actual maximum and change RF per tick that these conduits would be able to provide to this. So there's bottlenecks in the system, yes, but I do prefer Ender IO specifically because Ender IO has a lot of monitoring tools and automation tools that the thermal expansion system doesn't. So I'm probably going to be converting the infrastructure slowly over from these over to Ender IO. If I need massive power somewhere else, then we'll address that massive power somewhere else. But for now, that's how things are actually going to work. One of my next little projects is going to be hooking this up to the LP system, so I don't have a chest here. Instead, I have an LP pipe coming up from the floor, and this will automatically keep, let's say, 16 of each of these in each of these slots. That's going to be the task at hand. Let's see. I still have a lot of stuff. See, blazes. I could actually do blaze because these are all blaze spawners. That'd be really simple to do. But I need to do blazes, gas, zombie pigments, hellhounds. I actually want to do because they drop some witchery stuff. I already did Enderman. Don't need to worry about them anymore. Basals, that is actually a thermal foundation critter. I'd like to get more of those. There are more variants of that I'd like to pick up. This is a wither skeleton that I grabbed in the nether, but it says skeleton. Pretty much all I need, though, is any kind of a skeleton in a bottle. Make a spawner with it, and if I use it in the nether, they're automatically wither skeletons. So that's an easy situation to actually solve. So we are making a lot of progress. Things are coming along very, very nicely. I need to do some finishing work here in the model village. I'm going to do the town hall right there, clock tower, and I'm going to do a little park space over here with some kind of garden growing areas. Not going to turn these into houses because I'm already running at about 18 to 20 villagers right now on average. I don't want to push that number any higher. The town hall is going to drive it a little bit higher already. I don't want to get it higher than 20 or 25. So I'm going to have to limit. There's going to be a couple of doors in the front here, maybe one door on each side there, a door up on this level. That's going to add probably 2 or 3 villagers, which will push me just over the 20 mark. Then we can leave it at that point. I'll do a little bit of green space, like garden over there and over there. It'll be nice. It'll look good. And people can come and trade with these guys. If I need to, I can actually get some of these guys that have good trades, take them out and put them in some kind of a containment area, a specific containment area. Maybe I could make an area up here where I could lock them down into a little, 2 block tall, one block space that people could come up and just kind of right click and trade with them. And I could keep the better villagers on this level and kind of farm for ones with good trades down there. That might be an idea that I go with here in the long term. So I would get this walkway space and expand it all the way out to the walls and basically make little booths, trading booths. I think that would be really, really good. I'm going to call it quits here. We're just barely 20 minutes in, but my voice is going out and I'm starting to feel the actual, cold kicking in and starting to all the snot. It's gross. I'm so sick of it. Anyway, I really do hope you guys have a great Friday. Just FYI, if this does go out before my live stream on Friday, my live stream time, I'm probably not going to live stream on Friday because the cold has me so worn out. I'm heavily medicated. And basically there's a lot of snorting and blowing my nose and it's gross. And I don't want to do that on camera. So I will reschedule for another week. I am sorry. I'll catch you folks later. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.